Washington wins their first round game, and we are joined by Jalen Noel and Noah Dickerson, and Coach Hopkins is also with us, and he will have his statement following your questions for the players. Again, please direct your questions to a specific player so that they will be able to answer, and it will also help those who are running the cameras and the audio to get their camera and microphones on the right player. We'll start with your questions, and please also, if you have a question, try and find a microphone as the previous question is being answered so that we can keep everything moving along smoothly. Coach, if you want to make your statement.
Okay, yeah, really proud of our guys. You know, we came out in the first half, and Utah State hit us in the face early, and our guys showed a lot of poise. David got us on the board with his first three, and then we were able to settle down about the 6-minute mark. And I thought our defense was really, really good, especially on Sam Merrill. He's one of the best players in the country. We had to make sure that we limited him, and I think he was scoreless in the first half, which was a big part of our halftime lead. And obviously, offensively, in the first half, Noah Dickerson. I mean, when he's on, he's one of the best big guys, if not the best back-to-the-basket big guy in the country. We shared the ball. And then second half, guys, they came out like any championship team as Utah State. Great coach, great players. They came right back, you know. And this thing, there's so many different swings. And they cut the game all the way to one. We, you know, defensively, you know, we hold them to 26%, 30 from three, and 81 from the foul line, or they went to the foul line 16 times. But it's our defense, guys. When we're playing defense high level, sometimes our defense is our best offense. And we took every swing that they got, and we stayed poised, we stayed together, and we came out with a win. Very proud of these guys.
All right, we'll take questions for the players first, and then we'll have your questions with Coach Hopkins immediately following that. We have questions for either Jalen or Noah. Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Herman from Newsday, New York. Jalen, all the players in here yesterday were talking with such respect for their top scorer. What did you guys do to limit him?
Well, first off, Sam is a really good player, and we really just made sure that wherever he was, we had everyone know where he is. We were talking every time he made a backdoor cut, every time he cut behind our defense. We just made sure we knew exactly where he was, and that's kind of how we were able to hold him to 10 points.
Anybody else? No, I'll ask you if there were any panic feelings when obviously you got your team was in foul trouble there, and your rhythm was broken up by that, and as well as your usual rotation heading down the stretch.
Not at all. You know, in practice we have so many different lineups, and you know it's next guy up mentality. So you know Jamal came in here, did what he had to do. Nas came in, gave us great minutes. So you know we're a team, and we all do it together.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, you guys just won a game in March Madness, which not everybody gets a chance to do. How does it feel? How does it feel to have won a game?
It feels pretty good, actually. You know, I remember when I was a little kid, I used to watch this tournament all the time, hoping one day I had a chance to play in it, and you know, now I do. And so it's just special, you know, special opportunity.
Jalen, teams always look different. You can watch them on video all you want, but once the game actually starts and the reality sets in as to what they are, it becomes a different game. What did you see in the first 5 minutes as you guys initially struggled that was much different than what you suspected it would be when you were just watching on video?
Well, they played a lot more physical than we thought they did. They came out, like Coach said, they really punched us in the mouth with their physicality, and we were stunned by that, but we made sure that we just made sure that we were able to continue to keep playing as hard as we can, and when they push us, we just had to push back.
Well, thank you both for coming. Congratulations on the win, and we may see you tomorrow, if not certainly in the game on Sunday. Thank you. Coach Mike Hopkins is with us. If you have questions for the coach, please grab a microphone and I'll ask you the same question, Coach. What you obviously were looking at video of Utah State, much more lengthy than the players were, but what did you notice?
You know what? At the end of the day, I got to give our staff an incredible amount of credit. These guys watched more film, were so prepared and ready for these guys. And these kids, you know, it goes back to executing your game plan. And so when you see a guy like Sam Merrill, who he can shoot it, he can pass it, he's intelligent, they're so well coached, their ball movement is as good as anybody in the country. They've got shooters. Brock Miller, every time he got the ball, I was a nervous wreck over there. He's just an incredible shooter. And then Keita, you know, what can you say about him? He's one of the best players in the country that nobody knows about, and everybody knows about him tonight. And so we knew the challenge was going to be very, very difficult. You know, we were able to just shut them down as much as possible. And Jalen had said, and Noah, you know, we try to prepare them for anything that they might come at us with. And for us, we're a good team when everybody participates. And it's been a different guy every night. And today, Nas Carter hit 2 big threes when the game was tight, and he's been prepared. He works. Jamal Bay had to come in. We lose our point guard for the last 8 minutes. They're pressing. We haven't been the best team against pressure. And I'm just so proud of the guys because they were ready, they were together, and they were poised.
Thibault picked up his 4th foul. Was there hesitation as to what to do there?
I had to get him back in. And listen, he makes the game different for anybody. And when you're playing against a team that has great ball movement and they get good offensive rhythm, you're going to be in trouble. And he disrupts rhythm. He disrupts offensive rhythm. You got to think about him everywhere when he's on the court. He's blocking, he's stealing. I think he's the National Defensive Player of the Year. And when he's on the court, there's a different air of confidence with our defense. And just happy he was able to stay out and not get his 5th foul.
And hit a big shot.
And hit a huge shot.
Mike, how does your first tournament win with Washington compare to the first one you had as an assistant with Syracuse?
As a player or as a coach at Syracuse?
As a coach.
As a coach at Syracuse, my first year was 95, 96. And we went to the national championship game against Kentucky. And it was one of those things as a coach, your first time doing it. And, you know, getting that first feeling. And when you're trying to build a program to where we were and where we want to be, it's not only great for the seniors that stayed with it and have showed the way for the underclassmen, but it's a way for the underclassmen, the next one up, to feel the excitement and feel the crowd and to see what it's like to play in the greatest sporting event on planet Earth. And it's a feeling you never want to give away. And so this elevates where we want to be. You know, we didn't come here to get in the NCAA tournament. The greatest thing that makes this great tournament is you have a chance to win a national championship. Doesn't matter if you're a 16, doesn't matter if you're a 15, doesn't matter if you're a 14. You have a chance to win a national championship. And I think, you know, I know our standard is going to be that's what we fight for. That's what we do. When we're in the trenches on the rowers, when we're riding those hills and we're trying to build that team, that's who we are. And, you know, I'm just excited to get that win and show those guys if we execute and we play together, we can accomplish anything.
Mike, down here, you mentioned Noah being one of the better back-to-the-basket type players when he's on. Early in the game, he did get going. Was that by design, or was that something that kind of grew organically, I guess, within the game plan?
If you watch him last year when we played Arizona with DeAndre Ayton, he had 28 and whatever. He's you know, the thing this year and where he's sacrificed, where he's made us better is, you know, teams are double and triple teaming him. And he sacrificed a lot for the betterment of the team. And tonight they played a man-to-man. Early they doubled. We capitalized on it because he's a great passer if he's willing to, and he did. And then when they played a man-to-man, he's a problem. And having that option and that weapon down there is hard to guard, and we're lucky to have him on our team, I can tell you that. So, yes, by design, we play inside out.
Back in the back. Go ahead.
I thought when Utah State cut it to within a point, I thought Carter hit 2 really big three-pointers. Was that kind of by design, or he just had open looks and
No,
took it?
at the end of the day, what was going to happen, we knew, you know, they do a great job of packing the paint. They're one of the best two-point field goal percentage defensive teams in the country. And so they go on the boxes and elbows, and we knew that they would double team. We knew that we would get open shots if we were patient and we moved the ball. And then it comes down to, sometimes coaches in press conference like, well, we didn't make shots tonight. Well, we made them tonight. And like you said, I thought that was a big part of the game, the 2 threes. And he step in, wide open shots. And that's when we're at our best. Those are the shots that we make when we make threes. And so it was the unselfish passing and the guys looking for each other. And Nas Carter's probably one of the hardest workers on our team. And to see him have those moments was pretty special.
You obviously don't like to talk about yourself, but can you just give us one example about how this experience is different than being an assistant coach in a big game like this?
Do you see my hairline? I lost a lot of real estate the last 2 years and a lot of sleep. But you know what? It's, listen, I've dreamt my whole life of being in this position. And when you dream it and you get an opportunity, special. Can't lie to you, but I've always believed in surrounding myself with great people. My mom and dad stressed that my whole life. I did that with Jen, Shondell, and University of Washington, and coach kids I love to coach, and just trying to give them everything I know, and try to learn more to give them more. And that's what it's all about. That's what makes college basketball coaching so special, are these moments, and then dreams do come true.
They say that 18 inches that you move over in a chair is the biggest 18 inches in sports. Would you agree?
I don't know. I've been a basketball coach my whole life. I think that's the easy part. It's the organization, running a business. It's doing all those things. Basketball, I get there, I'm the nervous wreck before I go out there. And then when I go out there, man, I roll up my sleeves. I feel like I'm playing. And I've got 4 coaches and a staff that feel like they're playing too. And we're aligned, we're together, and that's what makes it special. It's been an incredible run, and there's more to come.
First one's the toughest. Thank you. Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
For Utah State, we are joined by Sam Merrill and Brock Miller, and of course, Coach Craig Smith. And Coach Smith will have an opening comment or two.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Washington. I thought they played fantastic. Really disrupted us. You know, I thought we were really tentative in the first half, and that was a lot to do to them. They really disrupted us on top. We struggled completing passes. We had too many turnovers. Obviously, we end up with 21 turnovers on the game, which is very uncharacteristic of us. I can only think of one other game in which that's happened, even remotely close to that, in the last 2 months since we've won, 17 out of 18 or whatever it was. But you got to give them credit. I thought our guys really competed hard, really fought back. They hurt us on the offensive glass the first half. It was really the tale of two halves. But we come roaring all the way back. Our press was really, really good. Caused them to get tentative and force a bunch of turnovers. Sam made a big three in the corner right in front of our bench that cut the lead to 1. And then we just almost got maybe a little overzealous with our press and took some chances we really didn't need to. And give them credit. They make back-to-back threes on the next 2 possessions. And I think we came back and turned it over a couple times. But, you know, an amazing season. We're so proud to represent certainly Utah State, the state of Utah, and of course the Mountain West Conference. The Mountain West Conference it's a great conference. It's really a conference on the rise, and we're really, really proud to represent them. And obviously, we wish we could have did it with a W. But you know, this team picked 9th in the preseason poll and getting an 8 seed, and then just the way we did things, it was a historic season. Really from start to finish. It was a program. We didn't lose back-to-back games one time to win the regular season title and then validate it with the postseason tournament. It was fantastic. First ever in Utah State history in terms of winning a Mountain West championship. So it's just the start of where we want to go, and we'll talk about that more later. But congrats to Washington.
Again, we'll take questions for Coach Smith in just a couple of minutes, but if you have questions for Brock or Sam, please direct them to either Brock or Sam or both, but if you say both, then at least one or the other so that our technical people can keep track. We have microphones ready for you to ask your questions if you are ready. Go ahead.
Sam, this was obviously just really a frustrating game. But what did they do to really kind of take you out of rhythm? You just didn't have looks, especially in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, like Coach said, we got to give them all the credit. Their zone was really good tonight, and they made it really tough on us. We had practiced against it all week, but you can't, like I said, pregame, you can't replicate the length that they have and the athleticism that they have, and they did a very good job not just taking away my looks, but making things tough for us as a team as well. So just got to give them all the credit in the world for sure.
Brock, at the very beginning, from the beginning, it seemed like you were coming out with a lot of energy, but going into the half, I mean, that was probably one of the ugliest points as far as, I mean, things were going against you guys. What did Coach say at the half? What was your guys' conversation like, and what were you thinking would be the outcome of the game?
You know, us as a team, we've been in this position before, you know, where we've been down going into halftime, and us guys, you know, we all came together at halftime, and, you know, we just decided, you know, it's time to come out and really just not be tentative like we were in the first half, and Coach made a big emphasis on that. And, you know, obviously, as a team, we always believe we're going to win, and we're always going to find a way, and unfortunately it didn't happen for us tonight, and credit to Washington. You know, they came out ready to play, and they really disrupted us on our offense with their defense, and, you know, it happens sometimes, you know, where you lose some and you win some, and but I'm really proud of all of our guys, and, you know, what we did this year was incredible, and, you know, we're only going uphill from here, but yeah.
Brock, that was a team with great length, obviously, and you can see that on the video as you prepare for the game, but does the reality set in the first couple of minutes of the game, and you realize it's going to be a little more difficult for your shots to fall?
Oh, definitely. I mean, all those guys up on the perimeter are very long, very athletic, and you don't realize, you know, until you are in the moment, you know, getting they're jumping in passing lanes. And so, I mean, it definitely took us a quick minute. But, you know, I think that second half we really fought hard, and we gave it our all. And, you know, we're going to be back next year.
So, Sam, you guys fought, you know, pretty hard back in the second half. What was it like when Washington, they go 6 of 7 from 3 in the second half? How much did that kind of hurt you guys in terms of, you know, you make a push and then they hit a three-pointer to kind of, you know, cut it back?
Yeah, we cut it to 1, and then they hit 2 straight threes, and it was number 11, I forgot his name, but number 11, who's a good player but hasn't made a ton of threes on the year. So give credit to him. He hit some big shots, 3 big shots in the second half, and got to the free throw line a couple times too. So like Coach said, we had a couple. Once we cut it to 1, they hit a 3, and then we had a couple turnovers, and then he hit a transition 3, and you know, that was a tough moment for us for sure.
I'll start with Brock, but both of you, I'd like you to answer it. It's been 8 years since Utah State got to the NCAA tournament. You mentioned about wanting to get the tradition going again. What have you taken from this experience of being here? I know it's shorter than you wanted it to be, but what do you take from this experience going forward to next year?
I mean, this experience was awesome for us, and, you know, it can only go uphill from here. You know, us guys, and we got a lot of guys coming back next year. And, you know, Sam and I both are from the state of Utah, and we both grew up watching the Aggies. And it's something special to be here in the NCAA tournament and to win the Mountain West Conference tournament championship. And, you know, from here on out, we're just going to keep competing and doing our best to get back to the top again, get back to this tournament, and hopefully a better outcome next time. But definitely it's on our minds, and this experience will definitely benefit us.
Yeah, it feels it's been a good year for us, definitely. Getting Utah State back to where Utah State basketball needs to be, but obviously this is still very disappointing. We felt like this was a real opportunity to make that next step for this program, and couldn't get it done tonight. So our goals next year will be to do what we did this year: win the league, win the Mountain West tournament, and then get here again and win.
Thank you both for your classy representation, and congratulations on the conference championship. We appreciate it very much, and hopefully we'll see you down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Coach, questions for Coach Smith. Go ahead, please.
Craig, right here. Nancy Armour from USA Today. Were you surprised to see them shoot the 3 as well as they did? They have not done that anywhere close to what they did tonight all season.
Yes and no. I mean, I watched a ton of games on them, and there were certainly some games where they were on fire. I forget the specific ones, you know, leading up to this game. At halftime, they were 4 for 10, but they were drilling us in the paint. They were 11 for 20 in the paint, you know, in the first half, and just had 6 offensive boards. They only had 1 in the second half. So, you know, we were really having a difficult time staying in front of them in the first half in particular, especially number 5, who's obviously a very good player, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, Noel. We just really having a difficult time staying. He was just getting downhill, and they were just living at the rim, which opens up offensive rebounding lanes. The second half, obviously we got off to a great start. They had to call a couple timeouts early. The press was very, very effective, and, you know, so you're trying to make the game a little more maybe helter-skelter, and to their credit, they made some threes on us, you know, and some of those were tough threes, some were wide open. But good teams make plays, good players make plays. You know, we've done it all year, and to their credit, they just made a few more plays than us.
Coach, normally Sam and Nemish are huge weapons for you.
Yeah.
And they both kind of had an off night. What's that like as a coach? I mean, what goes on in your mind to kind of change that, or was there panic?
I don't think there was panic. Certainly, they got us out of a rhythm. They sped us up without a question. I thought we looked a lot more like ourselves. You know, the first 14, 12 minutes of the second half. Then we did do a few uncharacteristic things, just taking some shots offensively that we normally don't take. We tried to throw, I guess it would be an alley-oop pass that was never there. And sometimes, you know, that happens sometimes. in these moments. And, you know, certainly the first half, I didn't have our guys set up in a position for consistent success on the offensive end, I thought, especially. I thought we were way better. The second half, we got downhill. We were in attack mode. We shoot 16 free throws. We only shot 4 in the first half. But we were just way more aggressive. And, you know, what's people forget, like, and I know our local guy, you've heard us, is how young we are. It's very rare that we showed our youth, you know, throughout, and we had some glimpse of that tonight. But, you know, I've coached for, you know, you walk in the locker room after the game, and, you know, some teams, when they're done with the season, they're hop, skipping, and jumping out of that locker room. And this isn't like an emotional, I mean, it's a very emotional time, but this isn't an emotional statement. Like, I've coached for 23 years on really, really good teams. Had a team that played in a national championship game. I loved coaching those guys. Been a part of a lot of rebuilding, so to speak, where you're doing some things for the first time. And I've never seen a team come together like this team has. If you look back to where we were last April, May, this summer, where we couldn't throw a shot in the ocean, we're throwing the ball in the third stands of the Spectrum, like, on a routine basis. And I'm not kidding. Like, that's factual. And how far this team has come, and I just wish every coach could coach a team like this. It's just, it's just an amazing, amazing group to be around. And not to get sidetracked, but that's what I do. I was 32 years old. I spent a full day with John Wooden. And just by the late Don Meyer, who's one of the biggest influences of my life, and he's obviously passed away, invited me to a coaching clinic in LA. He does coaching clinics all the time. And the plane ticket was like $600. I didn't have any money. I was making like 25 grand. And my wife's like, you need to go. So we go, we land, we drive. Next thing you know, we're in a residential area. And Coach Meyer rings the doorbell, and out comes John Wooden. Like, I didn't even know we were going to see. Spent the whole day with him. I'm 32 years old. I just got done being a head coach for my first year. We had a great year. The year before, I got to Mayville. We were 1-27. We got to the national tournament loss. Anyway, long story short, I could tell John Wooden stories all day from this day. But the thing I was like, you always want to find your purpose, like as a person, as a coach, what you value, what you believe in. If it's just about winning, then I'm not sure, then it's kind of hollow. Now you better win or you're going to get fired. But it's kind of shallow. And you're 32 years old. I had a full head of hair. And he was getting all these calls. He had a phone like this big, like by that. And you hear every voicemail. Bill Walton would call. The late Pat Summitt called. Swen Nader called. Like all these, it's like a who's who. And at the end of like every call, these former players would say, "I love you, coach." And it was just like that's what it's about. And so you go through everything, and this group, I mean, like it's a band of brothers. Like they will be forever connected. Just their selflessness, the way they play. There's no ego. There's no I need to get mine. There's just none of that. And it's just such a, even tonight when we were dead in the water, we just kept fighting and chipping away and gave ourselves a chance, and we just couldn't get it done.
So during halftime, what was it that you said to them? How did you channel that brotherhood?
Just, rely on your training. The experiences that we've went through, that's why you play tough non-conference schedules. Like you go through and you learn a lot about yourself, and then you get in the league playing, it's just rigorous and rugged and I mean, every night out, and so you gotta, and then what's got us to this point all year, and that's our, certainly you have to have talent, but what's put us over the top is we work really, really hard. We have a Gator mentality. We don't take possessions off. We compete no matter what, but what really separates us is our chemistry and just trusting each other. And we play very, very connected. Obviously, they disrupted our connectivity just because their active hands, their athleticism, all that, creating turnovers. And we're typically a team that really eliminates losing. And from the day we got hired, almost, it's I think 1 week short of a year ago now, our number one thing is we have to eliminate losing to win. And some, I'm not going to talk about last year, but like we had to end possessions. We're a top 5 rebounding team in the country, right? We got to be able to protect the paint. We're in the top 5 in 2-point field goal defense in the country, and then not turn it over and make your free throws. And we go 16 for 20 from the line. We knew how to get fouled this year, and that's our style of play lends to that. But certainly the one thing we didn't do to eliminate losing, it was the number one key going into the game, was we cannot allow our offense to be their best offense. And, I am with football analogies. If you're throwing 4 pick sixes, it's going to be odds are it's probably going to be a long night, and we threw a few pick sixes tonight.
Craig, down here. I've seen a lot of Syracuse over the years, and John Chaney at Temple. Can you put into words to a layman what it's like to? You guys were on a roll. I watched your Mountain West tournament. You guys were really on a roll, and all of a sudden this just unplugs you. Can you explain how a defense like that can do that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, and Sam nailed it. It's very difficult for us to replicate that in practice. Because obviously just on our roster, like we know conceptually what they're doing, of course, but just our roster doesn't lend to that. Like I said it tongue in cheek on one of the interviews the other day, like to replicate Thibault and some of those guys, like we should have had those swimming pool noodles, like just to tip and deflect, because obviously in practice, those windows that we see are very, they're wide windows, and you play against these guys and those windows are shrunk. And so, just tipping and deflecting, like that's one of our goals every game. We want to tip and deflect like crazy. And we did a good job of that this year. But it's just very, very difficult to replicate. Their front line of defense is it's just good. They're quick to the ball, super active hands. Thibault obviously is just a game changer on the defensive end. And then once we got it to the back line of defense, I thought like we would be able to score and make some things happen, and just felt like we had some really good looks. Now, part of it, they speed you up, but I thought we just missed some literally just point blank. And so some of that's us, but a lot of that's them just getting us really sped up. We knew we were going to be put in situations where we get to play 2-on-1, 3-on-2 once we get it past that initial line. But it's not very often that Nemish Keita, goes 4 for 12. And I'm not singling him out. I'm just saying, like, that guy is incredibly good. He's very, very talented. Just kind of had one of those nights, first or second play of the game, we get it right in the heart of the defense. And, 2 times, back-to-back plays, where Quinn Taylor gets it, we have a 2-on-1, and we could have threw it up to Nemi for a dunk or even bounced past it, or he could have shot a floater, and instead we turn it over. They tip it out, and it's going the other way. And then the next play, we ran that play about 2 plays later. Same thing. Quinn he was trying to make the right read to Nemi, and he literally could have walked to the rim, and it gets blocked. You know what I mean? And it's just, so it is what it is. But it's very difficult to prepare for. They do a great job with it, and you live and you learn.
Thanks for adding so much to this tournament, Coach. We appreciate it. You're going to be missed.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hopefully we're back.
We'll see you back.
Thank you guys for all coming out. Local guys, thanks for all your coverage all year. Appreciate it.